James Klein.
Thank you. 50. 50. Tuesday, I celebrated 50 with my friend Sabel Milamono. We did 50 consecutive daily podcasts on Facebook. 50. Can you believe that? I guess if you know me, you probably aren't too surprised by that because I do some crazy stuff as far as ambitious things. So I wanted to share with you if this is something that you feel called to do, some ambitious project like this, 50 consecutive daily podcasts. Let me share with you a couple of tips on the mindset you would need to have to do that. So there are three things that I want you to think about, and maybe write these down. The first is, think D, C, N. D, C, N. So the first is decision. The second is commitment. And then the third is non-attachment. So decision, commitment, non-attachment. If you want to create anything in your life, the first step is deciding that you're going to create it. Think about that for a second. You make the decision, and then you do it from that decision. So Sabel and I, and we couldn't be more different, well, there are a lot of similarities, that's why we get along so well, but she is a housewife in a high-end posh suburb of Detroit, right? She's a pastor, or she was a pastor. I'm kind of a hippie dude, I'm a hippie. Anyway, we made the decision that we were going to do this together. I want to tell you that it's easier to make a decision than it is to create the reasons why you can't do something. So she had some opposition to this at first. She said, no, I'm still married. She's separating from her husband. I'm still married. I don't want to be out on Facebook. And I said, well, it's just as easy for us to do it, to make the decision to do it. And luckily for me, she's on board with this. And so 2 days later, after we discussed doing a podcast, we were doing it. We made the decision. We didn't say, well, this has to be ready, this has to be ready, this has to be ready. We made the decision, and then we jumped right in and did it. So make a decision and do it. And I could, as the world's best creative coach, I can tell you a lot of things that I created in my life, and all of them started with a solid decision. I decided that I was going to do it, and then from there, I did it. Okay, second thing, the C, commitment. Be committed. Okay, what does that mean? Be committed. What that means to me is I'm going to do it no matter what. This is a done deal. When we decided to do a podcast, it wasn't like, well, we're going to do it someday. Well, we're going to do it if these things happen. If these things happen, we're going to do it. That wasn't what it was. In our minds, it was already done because we were committed to doing it. And commitment shows up a little different for me. I have arranged my life right now, so I have a lot of free time. I love it. I have a lot of free time. So in terms of scheduling, it's like I can do anything. Sabel is a little bit more busy. She has 3 kids. She's a soccer mom in addition to starting her own business. And so her commitment was a little more than mine, but she committed to doing it every day. It's like every day, no matter what, we're going to do this. It's not like we're going to do it when it's convenient. It's not like we're going to do it whenever we feel like it. It's not like we're not going to do it if something else gets in the way. We're going to do it because we're committed to doing it. So you make a decision to do something, then you commit to doing it. Okay. The third thing, the N, I couldn't think of a pithy one-word thing for this, so I'm just going to, this is a clunky word, but here's the word, non-attachment. And what that means is we are not attached to the outcome. We decided to do a daily podcast together. We've done it actually yesterday was our 51st. Today will be our 52nd. Are we going to do it tomorrow? Yeah, of course we're going to do it tomorrow. We're committed to doing it, but we're not attached to what it means. what might it mean to us? It might mean that we're building a relationship and eventually we get together. It might mean that. It might not mean that. It might mean that we form a business partnership together. It might mean that we simply show up every day and have a conversation with each other. That's all it means. But I'm not attached to the outcome. It doesn't have to mean anything. And that's an important lesson when you're creating anything. Don't be attached to the outcome. There's another thing that goes along with that, and that's an idea called precession. You might want to write that word down, precession. Precession means that when you do something, other things move in relation to what you're doing. Or another way of putting this is, as my coach Eric Lofholm says, the universe responds differently to those who take action. So what I'm saying is if I take action and Sabella and I get together and we do a daily podcast, the universe is going to respond in ways that I couldn't even imagine. Okay, one of them is I've developed my skills as a public speaker online, and I feel pretty confident that I could be a host for a podcast in another situation. I could host my own podcast because of this precessional effect, because of this strategic byproduct. So, let's recap. And if you want to do a creative project, here are the 3 things you want to think about. First is what? You wrote it down. Decision. You make the decision. Second is what? Commitment. You commit. You decide you're doing it no matter what. And the third is what? Non-attachment. You're non-attached to the outcome. This was great for me, and I'm dovetailing this into a level 4 project. I just thought of this right now. In the Toastmastery, in the levels of Toastmastery, as you go up to level 4, level 5, a lot of these are actually projects, like start a podcast, do a panel discussion, and so on. So I'm going to check my mark off for that. So 50, and here's to 50 more. Thank you all so much.